Hey friends, welcome to another video from the Adventure Van. Today we're checking out a brand new product that's hopefully going to help us extend our adventures. Let's jump into it. This is the ApiCool temperature controlled cooler, and it does a whole lot more than your traditional cooler. In today's video, I'm going to show you some of the really great unique features for this. We're going to show you why I think it's going to help extend our adventure experience, and then we're going to do a quick review to see if it really is worth your hard-earned money to grab so you can extend your adventure experience. Now, as I mentioned, this is a powered temperature-controlled cooler, so it's gonna work a whole lot better at keeping things nice and fresh and cool and even frozen in this compartment compared to your normal coolers. You can see it has a nice big control panel here that we're gonna turn on and demo for you. It even has a USB port so you can charge other devices through it. We have an input down here. As you can see, this is DC 12 volt, but it also comes with a converter so you can plug it into an AC wall outlet. You can see over on this side of the cooler is where the compressor is located to keep things nice and cool. It takes up a little bit of real estate for this cooler, but again, all this space is available for both your fresh and your frozen items. So in the fresh compartment, you can see it's fairly decent size. Again, these coolers come in multiple different sizes for you to choose from. I've got a medium size one, but there's also smaller versions as well as larger versions to choose from. And then over here is our freezer compartment. As you can see, because this sits above that compressor, the area is much smaller, but as you can see, there's still enough room for our brats, double packed, as well as a few other items that you may be able to stick in there. Looking again at the fresh side, you can see that this actually is deep enough to put an entire carton of milk. We've got some lunch meat in here, some egg bites, hummus, and then there's quite a bit of room for sodas. Now again, this is an efficient use of space because you don't have to put any ice blocks or ice in here. Again, the cooler is going to be doing that using that compressor. It's basically a mini refrigerator. Now, the reason we love this size so much is because, as you can see, it fits perfectly in between our driver and passenger seat. Now, as I mentioned, there's two ways of powering this cooler. The first is using this DC power outlet that adapts right into the DC port on your vehicle. So we'll plug this end down here into the DC port right there. Then we'll take the other end, and I'm just going to put it over here into, again, that DC port on our van. Now, the one downside with this is that this is only going to be cooling when you have the van in the on position. You can see I actually have it right now turned to accessory mode, and we have a power up on our screen. Okay, on our LCD screen, you can see a couple of things here. First, we can see that the left compartment, or the refrigerator compartment over here, is set to 44 degrees, and that's in Fahrenheit. And then we have our right compartment, or the freezer compartment here, is set to 31 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, we also have some readings on our battery because it's plugged in. You can see my battery is a little low here on the van. In fact, we're only reading 11.1 volts. That should be up above 12 volts. So we're going to need to do a little bit of charging on our van battery. Again, some good information to have. Now, what's really nice is you can actually control these individually. Let's say you only have things to cool and nothing to freeze. Well, we can turn off the freezer portion by actually pushing the settings button and the minus button at the exact same time and holding for 3 seconds. As you can see, the right is now turned off. Again, really nice. We can also do that with the cooler section by pushing the settings and the plus button at the same time. Now, these are obviously great default settings, but just in case you wanted to change the temperature, we've got these little plus and minus buttons. I can click the plus button here, and as you can see, that moves it up or down. Now, the settings go up and down quite a bit on the cooler side. In fact, it's -4 all the way through 68 degrees. So again, once this thing cools down and it's a great temperature and holding, you may want to adjust these numbers so it's right for your specific things that you are cooling down. If we're at our campsite and we don't have the van running, that's where the first potential con could have come into play. We wouldn't have the power to keep the cooler at the proper temperature. But there's an adapter that ApiCool includes that actually can run off of our little power stations. This is our mini power station, and it has full capacity to be able to run the cooler. Now, our particular power station has both the car socket, or the DC section, as well as AC power. We'll use the AC power just for demonstration purposes using this adapter. Again, super great that it comes with it. We'll plug this into the slot down here. We'll grab our AC plug. We'll put that into our power station. We'll turn our power station on here. As you can see with that plugged in, the cooler fires right up and is ready to go. Now check this out. Again, it's at full max capacity. You can see down here, it's on the max setting. And up here, we're only getting an output of 51 watts. So that really isn't a ton. In fact, we could run this cooler off of this small little power station for almost 10 hours at that max setting. But let's say the cooler was already at a really good temperature and holding. We could also hit the settings button and go into eco mode down here. Now on eco mode, and then using the DC side of our power station, you can see it's even less wattage, although it is fluctuating quite a bit in this mode. But at these settings, we're looking at 15 hours of runtime. And again, that's with this little battery. If you had a bigger power station, you could run this no problem for even longer. I will say this thing cools down really fast. It's dropped like 20 degrees just as I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes. In fact, this has got me really thinking about power out at our off-grid cabin. I think if we were just going up for a couple of nights and we wanted to really maintain a really low power output in the cabin, I think we could bring this up, have this attached to the battery, and really be saving just a ton of power. So it's definitely a cool product, definitely adds some comfort and longevity to your adventures based off of your food needs. Again, I think it works really great, straight out of the box, plug and play experience. Overall, definitely give it a thumbs up. Now, who's this gonna be for? Because it does come with a little bit of a price tag. Well, it's gonna be for somebody who is gonna be on an adventure longer than 1 or 2 nights. I think you can get away with a traditional cooler as long as you don't need to freeze things for that long. Anything over that time, especially for van lifers living out of their van, they're really gonna need that longevity of keeping their food nice and fresh. Now this could work great straight out of the box for like long haul truckers that have multiple days on the road and want to keep things nice and fresh if their engines, again, are always running. Or like I said, those campers or van lifers who have power stations so they can go back and forth from when they're driving using that DC output and then using power station output either through the DC or through the AC adapter. So hopefully that's helped, friends. If you want to grab one for yourself, you can get them right here on Amazon. In fact, we'll put some links in the description box below if you'd like to pick one up for yourself. And then stay tuned because we actually do a ton of these review videos, both for van life, adventures, all sorts of things, DIY type things around the house to make your life hopefully just a little bit easier. Thanks for watching, friends. We'll see you again on the next one.